Hi guys, this is Beauty Within, and we explore everything skincare, lifestyle, and happy living. What do we say?
Everything just from within. Beauty is truly from within. We clearly haven't done this in a long time. But this is your host, Felicia.
Hello.
And I'm Rowena.
I feel so confused.
Great start. There's cameras, there's audio.
Yes.
This is for podcasting, but also YouTube.
Guys, we're figuring this out with you. But one thing we wanted to start is this podcast, if you're listening. And where it came from is at the end of every episode on YouTube, we ask each other, what's something that you've been thinking about today? Or what's something you've learned this week? Something top of mind? Because apart from the skincare and showing you guys all that good stuff, we do have our own personal lives and we go through the same struggles as I think a lot of you guys do as well. So just to have a place where all of us can vibe together.
Yeah, because I think ever since the inception of Beauty Within, we really believe that, you can put as much skincare and makeup beauty products on your face, but like true beauty really comes from within, whether it be how we treat other people, how we treat ourselves, and how we take care of ourselves and, the people we love. So we really want to create a little spin-off from our channel. I don't think we've ever done like a mini series before where we would like change up the set and try something new. So this is very exciting. We hope you guys are excited too.
Yes.
And
so we're going to start it off with each week we can take turns in bringing one topic or one theme or one word to mind. So this week we're starting with what I've been thinking about, which is patience.
Patience. Can you give us a 15 seconds of why?
Okay, so my family has been visiting me because they came for the wedding, and also I'm in this place where now I'm moving in with my husband, right? So once my old single gal self and being able to do everything that I want in my way, the style I like is kind of gone, I feel like, It took the thinking on behalf of others to another level. So that's where I am in life. It all came down like a ton of bricks hitting me at the same time. And it made me question, okay, what is real consideration? What is thinking on behalf of others really mean? And how do I neutralize what I believe is right, what I like, what I don't like, and also listen to them and find that happy medium. So that's where it came from. It was just a lot of feels and emotions the last couple of weeks. So it's brought that theme top of mind.
And you guys, if you're like, wow, I love your skincare content because you decipher and break down all these complex things. Guys, we do that with our lives too.
We do.
With our internal dialogues, like it's exactly the same.
Yes. And if you ask us what we talk about the most off duty or when we're like not on camera, it really is just how to be better humans.
Yeah. That I think is what actually brought us together.
Yeah.
And for us to be able to do what we're doing now.
Yeah. And some of you might not know, or you might know that Ro and I are quite different. Like in terms of our approaches or like styles, but I think what we do have at the root of it is a very common principle, like a core being. So that's interesting to me because different themes will play out and like manifest in different ways. And then to kind of talk about it, it's always, I feel like it's best these days to talk about things from one end, hear the other end, and then you can kind of make your own decision, like what actually is true balance.
Yeah. And I think as you get older too, you realize that like no matter how different you can be with someone, if you share the same values, it's like none of that really matters. But to take it back to today's word, which is patience, I'm going to read the textbook dictionary definition of patience, which is the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. I've actually never looked up the definition of patience.
Same.
So that was like Wow.
And you know what was more interesting? The synonyms that were
Yes.
suggested.
Yes. Forbearance, tolerance, restraint, self-restraint, and resignation. And what's even more interesting, as you wrote down here, is what it's not. So the antonym, right? It is impulsive, complaining, judgmental, pessimistic, and restless.
Yeah. Because when, like, first of all, we've never actually thought about it. You know, I would think patience is just, okay, if someone's taking a really long time in front of me with their order, I'll be patient. Like, I'm sure they have their reason for da da da, right? Or like with specific people. But I never actually broke it down into like different words, but also different environments. So then I started looking into it, and like psychologists actually break it down. One specifically in the name of Sarah Schnittker. Not good with names, guys. But she said patience comes in three main varieties: interpersonal patience, life hardship patience, and daily hassles patience. And so I think I just interpreted that and like simplified what that means is like patience you show with others, patience you have with the universe, and patience with yourself. And like seeing that so clearly, I was like, oh my God, no wonder I feel almost like I'm different people with different, like I'm a different version of myself with different people. So going back to family, I'm like, I am so impatient with my family. I used to think I'm a patient person. I'm chill.
Yeah.
But the older I get, I'm like, I am so
not
not
chill.
chill. Like the more you unravel about your whole like identity and
Yeah.
self, it's like everything I thought I was, I'm not. So that's one. That was one of the things. Because then I would ask, actually, but I am really patient. Like I'm really patient with the process and like my team. So I'm like, how is it that I'm almost this other person with other people? So then that got me thinking like, but if I was truly a patient person, then it would essentially apply across any group at any time. It would just be like, you would be at one. I don't know. Do you feel
All in
this?
harmony.
Yeah. Do you feel the same way, or do you think you're actually like pretty consistently patient with everyone in your life?
I think it depends. Well, it's not that it depends, it's just it's complicated. Because I think you have a different degree and level of comfort with different people in your lives, and you have different expectations for different people in your lives too. So, for example, I don't know why I just have zero patience with my parents. Because
Yes.
I feel like they would understand
Yeah.
and they'd always love me and they'd never leave me.
Yeah.
Because, like, they're my blood.
Yeah.
Right? So, with that, it's like I'm sure it's okay. The best example is like technology. They're trying to download an app, they're trying to use something. I'm like sitting on my dad's lap as in like a grown adult I'm like, Dad, just poke the button here. Oh my God. And then my dad's like honestly the like chillest, most like wise man. And
Yeah.
he's like, honey, it's okay. Take it easy. I'm like, no.
And then you get even more infuriated.
Yeah.
It's not okay.
And I think about it, I was like, you know what? You're right. Like, I'm sorry, Dad. But that's just like a good example, right? Of how I think parents can drive you up the walls because you've just known each other for so long and there's this degree of comfort and familiarity. I think with friends, maybe we share this similar feeling. It's I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but I have very low expectations for my friends. Because I think in terms of like, I don't know, the expectations that I have with like maybe my parents or my partner. Because I think with friends, it's like, you know, you're in my life, I'm in your life. I'm not gonna maybe like overburden you with things. So, or like, I'm not gonna expect anything of you because expectations lead to disappointment. And I've been disappointed a lot in my early 20s. So I think that actually be like the foundation of why I didn't have any expectations for my friends. But I think over time, it just helped me really get to this like accepting and tolerant place, as the definition, you know, we shared earlier, where I would just accept friends for who they are, regardless of like whatever that initial intention came from.
And
God, I thought
therefore
that.
show more patience.
Yeah. And then I think seeing that is allowing me to be like, oh, so you can do this with certain people in your life. That means you can do it with everyone in your life. And everyone in your life deserves this degree of patience.
Yes.
And I think it's like, you know that saying, it's like to know something is very different to like truly live it. So I think we know a lot of these things like, yes, we need to be patient and yes, we should accept things. But like to truly live it,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like, you know, maybe I'm living like 20% and
Mm.
friend is helping me with that.
Yeah.
But there's still like a long way to go.
Yeah, it's like showing both extremes. I know what I can be,
Yeah.
and then I know what I'm not,
Yeah.
almost.
And I think another big thing is we're socially conditioned to be a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So in social situations, I'm like, oh, I need to be patient and chill, or else people
Mm-hmm.
are gonna think I'm crazy. Right. So that's what it's also like the external face and like the internal face of on the outside, you want to appear a certain way. So you do what is socially acceptable.
Yeah.
But at home to your parents with the
You're
doors
like,
closed.
No, totally. And so I think I realized it's like we almost take advantage of the ones who are closest to us. And because that's where I find I am the most impatient. It's like you will take it or leave, and you're not gonna leave. So yeah, it's like the parents and your significant other, but like they're the ones who kind of deserve the
But you know what's funny? I feel like with your husband, it's so weird to say now, I feel like you've always been pretty you with him. Because I
Yeah.
think just like how close you guys were and whatever karmic relationship you guys had,
Yeah.
I think he's always been family in that
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Like comfort.
yeah, like you would just throw things at him and yell at him.
Yes.
and-
We had an interesting friendship. Okay, so I want to break down those three main patience, I guess, pillars a little bit more.
What were they again?
So patience with others, or interpersonal patience, patience with the universe, and patience with yourself. So when I saw those three in front of me, I was like, okay, I understand now. I think I am very patient with the universe. And
That's good.
I think so what that means to me is like you let things happen. You live in the now and you're not really fixated on controlling so much of your life where it becomes like very overly stressful or anxiety stricken, because I'm kind of chill like that, right? I don't know what chill means like at this point in time in my life anymore.
But you've always been very chill.
Yeah, about that kind of thing.
You've been less like, you're not the most like stressed, tense type.
Yeah. What do
Normally.
they say? Like blood type, the blood types are a certain way. I don't even know my blood type.
Great.
I don't even think my parents know my blood type. Anyway, so I'm very patient with the universe and letting things happen as they come. And I think I'm pretty patient with myself, which could be a good or bad thing. It's like not holding myself to this like idea of whatever it was, like perfection or something like that, right?
I think it's great for mental health.
It's good for
I wish
mental
I was more like that.
But that's why we have to show each other the opposite, because I feel like I could be more.
Yeah.
And I realize now that I had the least patience with others. And, you know, going back to what we just talked about, others is broken down into different categories. So I was really just thinking about that. And that is where I want to improve and kind of bring all three together so that I can almost be the way I am with the universe, but with everyone in my life.
Okay, another interesting thing I just thought of.
Yeah.
So the two parties you brought up
Yeah.
is your family, which includes your dad, and your now husband, right? And then your dad and your husband, they're very similar.
Oh my God, they're both Virgos.
Just like how my dad and my boyfriend are very similar too.
Oh God.
And I have zero chill and zero patience with him. But he's like the kindest, gentlest, most patient person. And I think, as you said, being with him, even though I'm like a little chili pepper, I was like, no, like whatever, no. Being with him alone has helped me see what that looks like in practice. Because he'll be talking to my mom in a conversation that, you know, I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to be in, because my mom's like giving him startup advice, and my mom's like 60, 65, like doesn't really know much about the tech world.
A wise woman once said.
Yes. But he would just listen, and he'd just nod. And then afterwards.
But you see, how much of that is because, what do you call it? Out of respect.
Oh, I think it is a lot out of respect.
Yeah.
Mostly out of respect.
There's almost this scale of like comfort, and then it's like a quadrant of closeness and stranger. Like you'll always show a face. It's that face, right? And then there's also like out of courtesy and respect, and there's like, what's the opposite of that? And it's like, where do you lie on those 4 quadrants? Yeah.
So going back to the question, do you feel like, I don't know, because dad and husband are so similar, you kind of like, are they in the same bucket?
They're in
closeness and like no patience?
Oh God, they're in the same bucket because, like you said, like James shows you almost the opposite of what you are. They are the opposite of what I am. They need structure. They want clarity. They want things to like be planned ahead. They want like, you know, what my dad would always ask me growing up, what's your plan? He still asks me, what is your plan? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, can we just accept the fact that no one knows? And then same with Thomas in the way that he wants to know like exactly what, you know,
Thomas is her husband.
Yeah. What we're doing for that day, or what we can, like, he'll be so organized. Oh, we have to print off that Amazon slip to make sure it's returned so that blah, blah, blah. I just want to have it done.
Such a Virgo.
Yeah. Like, it's not that it matters now. You don't need to think of it now, but I want to, like, have it prepared, right? So all of that is so opposite to my style, which is like, oh, like,
I'll do it when I think of it.
We'll do it when it's necessary. Like, we'll take it as it comes, you know, that type of thing. And so I think we irk each other the same way, but actually it like, it moves my needle of like, almost chill can be slack if not, you know, done in the right way. You put yourself always in this reactive mode rather than a proactive mode, which is something that I've also kind of been thinking about, like my life in general, how I make decisions, in that like some things actually need proactiveness. But your question, yes, they both have the one thing that triggers me.
Which is?
I mean, that's a good question. What is it about that?
But isn't it just so funny that you end up with someone who's just so similar to your I think it's a thing, right? Like girls usually find guys who are similar to their dad. That to be a thing. And then guys usually find girls who are similar to their mom.
Oh my God.
So James's mom is like more typical like Asian mom.
Yeah.
Like it's similar to my mom. My mom nags a lot.
Yeah.
And I inherit it from my mom. So I nag James a lot. And then I'm like, do you low-key like that? Because I remind you of your mom. He's like, you're not wrong.
Oh my God. Now that you say that.
Are you like
Thomas's mom is so chill. Oh my God. Like, are we just destined to be placed with our opposites to like make us wake up or something? Maybe. Anyway, that's another topic. Where should we go from here?
No, what is the thing that they have that bothers you?
Oh gosh.
Unpack it. By the way, it's really cold in here. That's why I'm like hugging myself. I'm not uncomfortable if anyone's wondering and you're watching.
I'm like,
but it's
cold
fine.
sweating.
It's fine. Yeah, because of the question.
What is it?
Is it something they do? Is it just their presence? Is it?
I think it's because I see how stressed and anxious they are that I'm like, why do you want to put yourself in that position to not all the time, but some things unnecessarily stress yourself out when it doesn't need to be. And then I get frustrated with that. So trying to bring it back to patience, I get impatient with that. because I myself am not that way, I almost can't put myself in that position to purposely stress myself out over nothing. You know what I mean? I think that's what it is. So I see my dad, you know, he had sleepless nights when he was trying to like run his little restaurant business. And he would be like, oh, my body hurts because he wasn't getting enough sleep. He was constantly stressed out. You know, you have to balance work, family, and everything in life, right? And then your own personal emotions. And I'm like, okay, so if you don't need to handle all of this right now, then why do you have to do that and then spread your energy out to other people? You know, like then you're stressing mom out, or you're stressing all my siblings out for like no reason. They're not even part of this situation, you know, but like I think it's the rollover effect of it. And then so with Thomas, like even if it comes down to just tone, like because you're trying to figure out all this stuff, be proactive, then without realizing, we can all speak to each other in a specific tone, right? And the more comfortable we are with those people, there's less filter. So like I get why you can be a specific way on a certain day when things are getting really hectic, but it's like, is that really necessary? Like
when his tone changes.
Yeah, or it's like, why do we, amongst moving our apartments, amongst corralling our parents, why do you have to like ask me to do this, what seems insignificant? But I know it's not. Like it will help me in the future, I know, and I'm actually very appreciative of it. But it creates a situation in itself, you know, to add to an already like layered situation. So I think that's actually what makes me annoyed and makes me, or it blinds me to be forbearant or tolerant, and all those words that we described, you know, the synonyms of patience. How do you balance that? Well, it's communication, right?
So is it like it's harder to sympathize with them and exercise patience or tolerance or forbearance when you see that there's like a clear thing that they could do or not do that makes them that way?
I guess it's like, how much of the situations we go through is self-made and how much of it is reality? How much of it is living in the future and how much of it is present? So, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think it's mostly all self-made, right? If you look at a Buddhist monk in a mountain who's been segregated from society, I don't think he's going to care about printing his Amazon return slip.
I know. And like, Thomas, if you're listening to this, I actually very appreciate you reminding me because this return slip has been just sitting in my inbox about to expire. No, but it's true. It's all about like the perception of it. I think on days that it rains, some people can look out the window and feel like, oh my God, it's miserable. I'm not in a mood. Like this just means my productivity is down because, you know, or it could mean like a farmer's crops are finally being nourished. Yeah. And what makes the difference between the two? The rain is just rain. There's no like emotion to it. And like as people, I think we just attach that emotion and make it a situation. So that's where I feel like, you know, all our perceptions in these situations are self-made in that we attach what we want to feel to it. Maybe too much.
And it can be also our perception of the situation too.
Yeah.
So I think this is a great place to kind of like shift the conversation a little. So I think we've like clearly identified what cause and what the thing is.
Therapy.
Yes. So moving forward, now that you know all of this, now that you've uncovered like the 3 different types of patients, how do you plan on, I guess, like, is there anything you're planning to change, or like what is your plan?
What's my plan? Oh God.
Not that, but it's like now that you know all of this about yourself, about the situation, how do you plan to move forward?
So I was actually looking things up and seeing what other people do, right? Came across this article that said 5 tips to learn the art of patience. And I think it was actually pretty good. So the first one is, when something or someone gets under your skin or you're provoked, you take a step back and you don't say anything just yet. So what this first thing means is like our first reaction is never always that great, right? It's reactive. And you don't want to look back and be like, regrets, I shouldn't have acted out that way. So that's one thing.
And I think that also falls under the restraint or the self-restraint part of the synonyms.
Yes. So that's one thing to constantly keep top of mind. Second is recognize your own potential downsides rather than theirs. So I think looking at the situation or the person, it's always easier to cast blame or be like, why didn't you do it like this? Like, why you like this? That type of thing as instant reaction. But once again, to create that buffer and be like, okay, why, like, what did I do wrong in this situation? So like if it's my parents, it's like, was it that I didn't say things clear or like communicate in a way that they understand? So what can I do between my relationship with them to better that? So,
but what if you were right? What if you believe firmly in your heart that like what you're doing was right anyway?
Yeah, I think there will always be times where we think we're right, but I also feel like I'm not perfect and I know there's a lot that I can improve on. There's always space to understand a new facet of myself and improve on. So to leave room mentally, knowing that like there is room for improvement, whether you're right or wrong. Third thing was ask yourself what's really making you so angry. So basically what Ro just asked me, what do you think it is about those two humans that can trigger and make you see red? Versus other people that also, like you said, that you don't expect much of. Like, what is that? What is the difference between those two? And how can I harmonize that? Fourth tip was isolate the frustration and look for solutions. So I think with any situation, it's like if you really care about them, like they're in your life, you really care about them, whether it's friends or whoever, the goal is to come up with a win-win solution so that both parties they feel heard, they feel happy, and even if it didn't go to plan, like you know how to go about it the next time it comes up. So that's the fourth. And then fifth is pull the emotion out of it and develop your own point of view. So it's almost like a Buddhist's approach, like nothingness. Like what would this situation be without my feelings? Although my feelings are valid, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right?
So in this situation, it'd be taking away your perceived, I guess, how you perceive the situation.
Perceive the situation.
Because it's from, like, of their stress, right?
Yes. And also my perception on how important they are in my life. Just because I know you're stuck with me for life does not mean that I can let loose on what is truly right. Yeah. And just because the doors are closed, I should still be the person I would be if the doors are open.
So let's say I'm Thomas right now and I'm so stressed. Like there's like 1,000 boxes I need to return. I'm about to move. I'm like, all over you. What are you going to do?
I think when anyone is stressed, it's because they feel a little out of control or they're not in control. So what we did last night, because he's in the process of moving his whole apartment into now our apartment, which I'm already in, right? So thank God we didn't do it together. Tip, don't move in together at the same time.
Oh my God, that would have been so bad.
Oh my God, yeah. The movers are coming on Friday. His apartment is not packed. It's not even boxed. We just got the boxes and he's like a little frantic and you can see it on their face that they're stressed out. So it's like, okay, let's just break down what we actually need to do. First of all is actually put all your stuff away, right? We don't even need to discuss anything else. So last night we just like one by one went through each cupboard, each drawer, like you take this side, I take this side. I'll ask you if you want to throw it, but I actually threw out a lot of things. And then I think the idea of that is to break it down into little, like more bite-sized feelings rather than one. You know that like chart, what is it? The wheel of emotions or whatever. There's like so many underlying feelings or emotions under an umbrella one.
Yeah.
So to break that down, whether it's just like a heart to heart or if it's actual physical things you need to do, break that down. And then you'll see that like it's actually clear. Like you know what you need to do rather than one big like jumble of 1,000-piece puzzles.
Do you think you had to shift anything in your mind to be able to be more patient during this time than other times? And like how did that kind of...
I think you need to really practice the selflessness because when you're thinking of others, there's really not much to gain for yourself on the surface other than like personal development, right? Other than...
Which is great.
Yeah, because it's like that muscle. You need to work it every day. Otherwise, it doesn't come in as an easy thing to do. So like, yeah, me, you know, we filmed yesterday. We filmed 2 videos. It took like 4 hours to set up, do the thing, pack down, go home. And you're tired. Like everyone's tired at the end of the day. And to go home and need to like pack another apartment, which isn't even mine, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. But it's not like, I think what I realized is it's not always about you. It's not always about your feelings. It's actually your relationship with others. So if that is the priority, then you will, or I will, very easily like go out of my way to do things that I wouldn't normally do because we're cultivating something beyond just what I think or what I feel. And then you can be tied together and then you can like, you know.
Exist in harmony.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you?
What about me? What?
I don't know if it's like James.
I think I'm also very adaptable according to the situations. Like when there's things on the line, I helped him move from SF to SoCal, and even though it can be stressful, I know he was very stressed. I think it's like if I know someone's really stressed, I'll be very chill. But if the person's really chill, then I know I have more room to be stressed or like be impatient. So I'm very like, I ebb and flow. And I think that was like the definition Eugene from Try Guys gave for a Sagittarius. It's like, I'm like plasma. I will fill up or I'll like turn into like a little speck depending on the situation. So like moving specifically, I think it's like, I'm actually very proud of myself. I pretty much packed his whole place. Because he was just like, oh, I want everything. I'm like, no.
Oh my God. They are so attached. I thought I was attached to stuff.
I want this lanyard from this one convention. I went, I'm like, you're never good. It's like, I want these t-shirts. I'm like, where are you going to put it? I'll bring it back to my parents' home. I'm like, okay. I'm like,
when was the last time you wore this t-shirt? He's like, but it's soft. I'm like, but you never wear it. We don't have space.
But I think if we want to like bring the conversation back to patience and what I've been trying to do, I think the first thing is just to be aware of it.
Yes.
When you're being impatient, if you're able to catch yourself being impatient, more often than not, you can diffuse a lot sooner. Because I think when I was young, I just like, it's kind of like that, right? And you just kind of allow yourself to indulge in this feeling of unfairness and impatience. But I think now as we grow older and hopefully wiser and a little bit more mature, it's like when something happens and it triggers my impatience, like as the tip, like 5 steps, right? It's like the first thing is just like take a step back. It's like, why do I feel this way? Do I need to be like this? 10 out of 10 times, no, I don't need to be like this. I can get my point across easily in a normal conversational voice. And after the situation, I'll usually keep thinking about it or at least background process it.
And that's the why, like for yourself. That's the relationship you have with yourself.
And then also like being patient with myself to know that I'm growing and I'm learning. So just because I'm impatient to my mother this one time doesn't mean that's who I am all the time. And so long as I'm reflecting, looking inward, trying to improve. And I think a great quality, I was going to say thing, like a great trait maybe even to have is the ability to say sorry if you did do something wrong. I think we're in a society where like everyone says sorry all the time, that like it kind of loses
Lost
meaning.
its meaning.
Yeah, so James would actually, he was like, why don't you ever say sorry? I was like, if I really have to say sorry, I will, you know, but if I'm really not sorry, then I'm not gonna say sorry. But like when I do say it, like I really mean it, because he says sorry all the time, like big things, little things, like someone passed away, I'm so sorry, someone hits their foot somewhere, oh my god, I'm so sorry, like anything, right? So I think the ability to admit that you may have been wrong and to be able to own up to it, I think it's very powerful. And it will also very positively affect and influence your person with the other party, whether it's your mom, whether it's your parents, whether it's your significant other or friends. Like they'll realize like, oh, you know, they're actually a very thoughtful person and they're human too, and we all make mistakes and it's fine. And more often than not, like our friends, our family, like they'll love us for who we are, right? But I think it's that communication of, and also like the self-awareness to be able to kind of harmonize everything.
Yeah,
if
I think
you did have a little.
when we were younger, if you say sorry, you're kind of like embarrassed or like you feel ashamed and you want to run away and you're like, sorry, you run away. But it's actually like now it's, as you said, like powerful, and it's very humbling, not just for yourself, but for the other person. And they will absolutely not make you feel embarrassed for it.
Or
unless
think
it's a
you're weak
toxic
or whatever.
relationship. Then in that case, might want to look into. So that's our thoughts on patience. We want to flip it over and ask you guys the same questions that we have been asking ourselves and each other. So where do you show the most patience? Where do you get most impatient? And how have you been responding to those situations? Let us know below. I don't know where you're listening to this right now.
And if you guys are listening to this on a podcasting platform, we have video. So you can turn on video if you want. And I think before we wrap up, if you guys have any suggestions for what we can name this series or even our podcast,
yay, another platform.
let us know.
And follow us on our socials. We have one for Beauty Within, Rowena, Felicia, and
everything will be linked down below.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to our therapy session.
Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Give us any feedback, thoughts, questions, comments. If you guys have questions too, or a specific word you want us to unpack, do let us know, because I think we have many feels and we have many thoughts.
Many thoughts.
Yes. Yay!
Yay!